Welcome back to Carneades.org. Today we're going to be continuing with our series, Ancient Arguments. In this series, we're looking at some of the ancient methodologies that the ancient Greeks used to form their arguments and how those influenced philosophy. In this video, we're checking out what is the Elenchus. Now, this is probably the best known of the three methods. The Elenchus, or also known as the Socratic method, is a method used by Socrates throughout Plato's dialogues. According to the story, the Oracle of Delphi told Socrates that he was the wisest man in Athens. Socrates was confused by this, since he claimed to know nothing. Therefore, he set out in search of someone that knew more than he did. He went around questioning various purported wise men throughout society, politicians, poets, etc. However, he would inevitably discover that they did not know what they claimed to know. And therefore, Socrates eventually realized that he was the wisest man, not because he knew more than these other people, but because he understood that he didn't know anything at all. Now, Socrates challenged each of these different wise people's arguments using the following method. Basically, he would take the claim that a person averred that they knew, call that claim A. So that's some statement like, this is what good is, this is what justice is, this is what whatever philosophical concept of the day we're talking about is. Then he'd speak to the person and discover that in fact they believed other propositions, call them B, C, and D. And these were commonly accepted propositions. These were generally very intuitive propositions that you would have no reason to deny. Finally, Socrates would then show through the magic of philosophy that B, C, and D actually implied that A was not the case, therefore showing that the person did not in fact know what they claimed to know. And this process of taking a claim and then finding other beliefs that that person has which contradict that claim is the Elenchic method, or the Socratic method. A prime example of this is in Euthyphro, one of Plato's most famous dialogues. You can find them throughout the dialogues, but this is commonly one of the best known. Euthyphro claims that A, good, or piety in the case of this, but good for now, is what is dear to the gods. Socrates shows that Euthyphro thinks both that B, the gods disagree about things, and C, what is good, can't also be bad. And therefore, because some gods think one thing is good and other gods think that thing is bad, and individual things can't be good and bad, things that are objectively good can't just be down to what the gods believe. He goes on to show that, so Euthyphro will change his mind. He'll say, oh, this is really what I mean, and Socrates will run the same argument over and over again. And with some little banter in between and some explanations of positions, that's most of what a lot of the Socratic dialogues are. Using this method to show that people don't actually believe the things that they claim to believe, or their knowledge isn't as solid as they once thought it was. Although dialogues have fallen out of fashion in philosophical writing, this method, or showing that an opponent's claim and assumptions lead to a contradiction, is a common method used in philosophy. Or at least the argument that, well, you think that A, here's some ridiculous conclusion of A if we logically draw out what can we conclude based on A just using the rules of logic. You wouldn't assent to that ridiculous conclusion. You would deny that, so you have to deny A. These methods also exist to a certain degree in modern education. Some teachers ask questions of their students instead of telling them information to help them come to conclusions on their own and understand the reasoning for these conclusions. It's done both with content and around behavior, in the sense of you wouldn't want to get punched in the face, so why would you think that it's good to punch someone else in the face? Showing that maybe kids' actions are contradictory with the beliefs that they hold. Socratic seminar in particular is one specific method that teachers use, which use kind of this questioning method in order to analyze a text. This is a change from some other education methods which are around students just rote memorizing information and not practicing skills so much as practicing just memorize particular chunks of information. That was the Elenchic method. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at the Maieutic method, which some people think is the same as the Elenchus, and some people think it's different. And then we're going to take a look at the Endoxic method, which I don't think anyone thinks is the same as either of those methods. Watch this video and more here at Carneades.org, and stay skeptical, everybody.